Hi, Jared. How are you?
Great. Thanks for being here.
No, well, thank you so much for taking the time. It's such a pleasure to speak to you. And I wanted to start off actually. Obviously, you previously played a character like the Joker, who is this very intense psychopath. But then with this role, obviously, you have the duality of Michael Morbius. So, how did that change your approach to the character, would you say?
Well, it's different every time. You look at a character, the circumstances, you dig in, you do the research, you educate yourself, and you hope to bring to life a character that's compelling. And in this case as well, it was a character. It is a character who's never been on the big screen before, so there was it was quite an honor to be asked to do it, and I'm excited that people are going to meet Dr. Morbius really soon.
Absolutely. And of course, in the comic books, Morbius has such a distinct costume. And I'm curious whether there was any ever talks of having that in this film, or potentially whether you'd be interested in suiting up down the line somewhere, do you think?
We talked about it, and we decided for the first film it probably wasn't going to happen. But there are some pretty great examples in the early comics and ideas of where we could go in the future if we suited up. That could be a lot of fun, actually. I like a lot of those elements, and the artwork for me was a great source of inspiration.
Yeah, I bet. And of course, I know you've spoken about being interested in one day crossing paths with Spider-Man, but I'm curious, after No Way Home, obviously you've got Tom Holland Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield, and Tobey Maguire. So do you have a preference for which of them you'd maybe like to see Morbius cross paths with at some point?
I mean, I'll take them all on.
I'd love to see that. And of course, as well, it feels like with Venom, obviously Morbius, Vulture, and I think they're introducing Craven and Chameleon down the line, that maybe Sony is setting the stage for something Sinister Six related. So, how would you feel about that? And how do you feel someone like Morbius would fit into that team of villains?
I mean, I think he would fit perfectly, and we'll see what they have in store. But that's the exciting thing about being part of this world, is you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, definitely. And I know I've read that motion capture was used, obviously, for your performance as the living vampire side of Morbius. And I'm curious what that was like for you as an actor, as opposed to maybe donning, obviously, prosthetics and makeup and things like that instead.
I I loved it. I mean, you take a huge leap of faith, but I love the freedom, especially to come in and out of the character. I was a big advocate of using technology, using CGI for that part of the character.
Yeah, and you mentioned before, obviously, the artwork in the comic books. I'm curious, in terms of research, with this being a character who hasn't obviously been in movies before, were you looking a lot at the comics, or even maybe things like, I know, various animated TV shows Morbius has been a big part of in the past?
Yeah, I looked at everything, and that's what's great about these characters, is there's so much material to dive into. Such a rich world. Um, but I read everything I could. I talked to doctors and scientists, and did the research, and I enjoy that part. I like to dive in and do that preparation.
Yeah, definitely. And something I really loved about your performance in the film is obviously there's such a different level of physicality between obviously before and after with Michael Morbius. And I'm curious how you approached both sides of that in terms of how he would move, obviously, when he's ill and then when he becomes this powerful vampire.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate that, but it was a very physical performance, very physically challenging, and a huge transformation happened. So in some ways, it was like developing three characters in one.
Yeah, and just on another note for a second, it's been roughly a year now since obviously Zack Snyder's Justice League came out, and fans just went crazy to see you back as the Joker. And people I know are saying it was like a redemption for the character. So, what did that mean to you? And what was it like to get to revisit him in that obviously very different way to how he was portrayed in Suicide Squad?
I mean, it was great. Working with Zach is a beautiful thing. I adore him, and um, I really loved that opportunity. Uh, yeah, it was really special. I enjoyed it a lot, and it's a unique thing to have been part of DC and to now have been part of Marvel. I mean, pretty amazing.
Absolutely. And one final quick question. Obviously, Blade is coming back to the big screen somewhere down the line. So how would you see a meeting between obviously Morbius and Mahershala's Ali's Blade playing out if they were to cross paths?
I mean, that would be a pretty fascinating experience. I think I'd love to get in the ring with him.
Well, fingers crossed. Jared, such a pleasure to speak to you. As a big fan of your work and looking forward to fans being able to check this out next week. So thank you.
Thank you, brother. I'll talk to you soon.
Have a great day.
Bye.